Oops, he did it again. He's made another Modcast.
I'm the big wheel, baby. Won't you roll with me? I'm not like everybody else.
Gonna be one of the faces down there, are you?
What do you mean, going to be? I am one of the faces.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, sir.
I'm the envy of every single guy. Says I'm the apple of my girl's eye.
Never wanna let you go. No, you make me feel alright. Yeah.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
You are listening to Mr. Suave's Mod World at mrsuave.com and on modradiouk.net.
Interrupting all programs. It's a mod world.
I'm a sexy punk rocker. I'm crazy like no other. I started in LA before the pay to play. I won't get a job, I won't go to school. Won't take a test, think I'm a fool. I don't need permission to piss on your lawn. I don't change for the latest fashion. Why should I get all the action? It's still 1979 in my mind. I'm a sexy punk rocker. I'm unlike any other, and no one can take me down now. Sexy rocker, a silent CD sucker, a sexy punk rocker. I'm a powerful for you now. I drove from New York to Route 66 and the California coast. I hustled out some chicks and I got myself some kicks. I'm trashing. I travel the world in the 7 states. I go in and out of hotels as I play. Room service and Dom-Pignon, and the girls are there waiting for me. I guarantee I get on stage in my underwear, and the bodyguards I can't find nowhere. It's still 1979 in my mind. I'm a sexy punk rocker, a sexy punk rocker, and no one can take me down now. I ain't no one-hit wonder. I'm crazy like no other. I'm a sexy punk rocker. I'm rocking out for you now. I'm here to please all of you. So listen to what I'm gonna say. I was born a punk rocker, and I ain't no sucker. I stand my ground and trash this town like no one's ever done before. I won't get a job, I won't go to school. Won't take a test, think I'm a fool. Don't need permission to piss on your lawn. Refugees and overcoats, safety pins and leather bolts. It's still 1979 in my mind. I'm so famous. Come on everyone, rock out. Everyone rock out. I'm a sexy punk rocker. I'm here to kiss all of you. So listen to what I'm gonna say. Gonna say, gonna say, gonna say. Punk rocker.
Hey there, fans of windmills and scissor kicks. This is Vic from Star Collector in Vancouver, Canada, and you're listening to Mr. Suave at mrsuave.com and on modradiouk.net.
Hey, Dad, I got a new record today. Is it okay if I play it on the phonograph?
Why, of course, Eddie. I think it's very nice for a young boy to be interested in music.
concert.
There's a storm coming, and it's raining in my heart.
Here he is, a man who has done more for the mod scene than the Titanic did for the winter cruise business, Mr. Suave.
There's a storm coming, baby. This is going to be a stomping, snarling, garage rockin' modcast. A deep dive of sorts into the Standells, including my interview with legendary garage rocker Tony Valentino of the Standells. There are lots of groups that clearly influenced punk rock and garage rock bands over the years, the world over, but the Standells, more than any other, have earned the moniker of the godfathers of punk rock. Thanks in no small part to my guest, Tony Valentino, who co-wrote many of the band's biggest hits like Riot on Sunset Strip, Try It, and of course wrote and recorded one of the greatest guitar riffs of all time for the opening of Dirty Water, by far the group's biggest hit. It's a bit surprising if you know that they started out as a fairly clean-cut band in the early 60s, very early 60s. They were a beat band, hardly known for pounding out rebellious music. They were clean-cut enough to land a bunch of, those kind of, let's be honest, corny TV and movie rock gigs on shows like The Munsters, The Bing Crosby Show, Ben Casey. They were featured in films like Where the Girls Are, Zebra in the Kitchen, Get Yourself a College Girl, and later the infamous garage rock film Riot on Sunset Strip. I've collected a whole bunch of the videos of the band's appearances on those shows and others, and all their film turns as well, and I've put them all together and posted them on the Modcast homepage at MrSuave.com, so be sure to check those out. Pretty fun to watch them. Early on, they had to play act, like when they were on the Bing Crosby Show and they had to appear as a band called The Love Bugs, and all the girls were in love with the Love Bugs. If they did get a chance to play as themselves, as the Standells, like they did on the Munsters, then sadly they ended up having to do a kind of staid cover of a Beatles tune. They did I Want to Hold Your Hand, didn't even really get to showcase their own stuff as much. There was a little bit in there, but that was their big number, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Still, getting to be on TV back then was a big deal. It gave the band a lot of exposure. But it was really after they penned and recorded Dirty Water that they hit it big, that all that early stuff changed. They went on to record bunches of garage rock hits, including the theme to the movie Riot on Sunset Strip, co-written by Tony. And the Standells, of course, became one of the greatest garage rock acts of the mid to late 60s and have been called, rightly so, the godfathers of punk rock. They've influenced, as I said, tons of bands, from mods to rockers and everything in between. So, since then, what's Tony been up to more recently? Well, I opened the show with his latest single. That's from his new album. That was I'm a Sexy Punk Rocker. And damn, that is straight true, isn't it? Song comes from Tony's brand new album, Dirty Water Revisited, which is just out from Big Stir Records. Got a link up to that over at MrSuave.com, and it's definitely one you want in your collection. But that's not all he's been up to. I got a taste of some of his other recent endeavors first, and then we'll jump into talking with him about the Standells and why he's re-recording his earlier hits along with some new material. Let's get to listening.
Because of you, I lost my baby.
Papa, we're gonna party all night long.
I'm your guru, I'm your savior, I'm the one with your affidavit. Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla.
Yes, indeed.
Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla.
It is legal now. Tell your sister, tell your brother, we're gonna party all night long.
I'm your guru, I'm your savior, I'm the one with your affidavit. Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla. Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla.
What you want from me now? It is a miracle, medical marijuana.
Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla.
It is legal like a beagle. Look what's going on the other side. Everybody's drinking beer, everybody's getting drunk. And for us, we're gonna smoke a few, cause we got nothing to do with you. And everybody's getting wasted, and society's getting infected. Yes, infected, and someone's getting arrested. Tell your people, tell your friends, we're gonna party all night long. Where you going now? To the kitchen to get some bitchin'. We're gonna boogala, boogala.
Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla.
Yes, indeed.
Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla.
Look what's going on the other side. Everybody's drinking beer, everybody's getting drunk. And for us, we're gonna smoke a few. Tell your Baba, tell your Mama, we're gonna party all night long. It's legal now, it is legal. It's legal, or medical legal.
Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla. Cause every time I come to see you, you've been smoking Sensimilla.
Smoke another one today, just like we did yesterday. Smoke another one today, just like we did yesterday. Alright.
is hers. Mr. Forbes, my word. On MrForbes.com.
Okay, you just heard a few newer tunes from Tony Valentino of the Standells. That last one, of course, one of the Standells' greatest. That was the newly re-recorded version of Barracuda, included on Dirty Water Revisited, just released by Big Stir Records. And ahead of that was Tony appearing with Nuclear Banana. That was Smoke Sensimia from Tony and Nuclear Banana's self-produced collection, A Suitcase Full of Dreams, released back in 2020. Nuclear Banana is made up of a bunch of garage rock vets. Joey Skidmore from Royal Nunsuch, Alan Portnoy from the Fuzztones, Eric Ambol of Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Jeremy Chatsky, the Gelatines, and of course Tony. I actually have a couple albums worth of material you can check out. And getting that little set going, I spun the 2021 release from Beck Black and Tony Valentino, You're Never Gonna Stop Me, which also appears on the new Rodney on the Rock Volume 4. It's a pure garage rockin' number right there. Beck Black's band is a bluesy garage punk outfit that has some very cool releases out there. And with Tony again, they did a fantastic version of Ride on Sunset Strip. It has a great video with some really cool cameos in it. And I got that up and you can check it out at MrSuave.com. Just a little hint of what Tony's been up to these past few years. But let's hear from the man himself right now.
All right, welcome to the Modcast. I am here and I'm very excited to be joined by Tony Valentino from the Standells, legendary garage rock band, and a legendary guitarist himself. Thanks for taking the time to be here, Tony. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem at all. I'm honored to do this. It makes me happy to talk about the old days and the rock and roll history, you know.
And you have a lot of rock and roll history. Maybe we can start just briefly a little bit about the Standells and when you got started and how you got introduced to those guys, maybe, because I know you weren't born here. You were born in Italy and then came to the United States and all of that.
Yes. Actually, I came to California, to the United States. I was in Sicily up in the mountains, and I always wanted to come to America since I heard that song Rock Around the Clock. And the solo on the song got me going, because in Italy, I never heard anything like it. So I was really anxious to see if I come to the United States so I could play some rock and roll. So I started working. My uncle got me a job at this bakery shop. It was in San Fernando Valley here, and I was in the kind of where they make bread and pastries, and not pastry, kind of morning pastries that Americans eat, you know, that bear claw, those things, with, you know, kind of. So, but about a year went by. So over there, I met this fella named Jody Rich, and we started talking, and we were working night shifts, like from like 8 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning, you know. Oof. So we were talking, and he goes, I play bass. And I go, hey, I play guitar. I'm from Italy. I know I knew to play guitar, but I want to play rock and roll in America, you know. And he goes, let's start a band. So I go, oh my God, that would be great. Let's start a band. That's what I came here. And so we started a band called the Starlighters, and we started working in the garage, in my garage in Hollywood. We used to the years. And we met this fellow singer, Lenny Duncan, and we started working on this song, which was after a while that we started using to do shows. We did a couple of gigs here and there. And after that, working on this song was called Delayed Action. And um, so one night we went to a football game and they were clapping their hands. And after that, I told the guys on the way out, it was me and Jody and Laney. We went to Burbank, California here to see a football game, which I'd never seen before. So they were, I was scared. They were making all this crazy noises. I've never been to American football, and they start clapping their hands. So on the way out, I told the guys, why don't we use this, the hand claps on the song that is called Delayed Action that we were working for months and months. And I started putting a bridge part with my guitar. And so about a couple of weeks later, we rehearsed it, and we put the hand claps, and we got the song, and it was called "Let's Go." You remember "Let's Go"? Da 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 da. Let's go. Da 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 da. So I was part of that song.
What year was that?
This was in 1961.
1961. Wow, you were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I just barely started learning to speak English, but I knew how to play some chords on the guitar. So I jumped right in, And after that, nothing. Lenny disappeared, the lead singer. He went with Warner Brothers. And me and Jody, we got left behind, and we looking for a lead singer and keyboard player. And we met this fellow named Larry. And then we found this agency in Hollywood called McConkey Agency, and we went to see them to possibly play to some gigs. And then they go, why don't you guys change the name since you got a new guy in the band? Go make up a name. So the guy sends us to come up with a name. 3 days we were standing around, and then the name came up with Standells, which was the amplifier. And then we're feared to getting sued from the amplifier. We changed it. We put an L, extra L. We made a Standells. So that's why I started the band. So I am in this band since day one. I'm the originator.
Yeah, no kidding. Legendary. Yeah. And your early days with the Standells, I mean, you wrote some incredible guitar riffs for songs like Dirty Water and all of those songs, those early hits that you guys had. That's just really incredible that you were there in the beginning days and were able to do all of that.
I know. I was like really was like a dream come true. All of a sudden I found myself with the unbelievable. Actually, we went to Hawaii right after, and we did for 6 weeks, and then we ended up staying there 6 months.
Wow.
And this fellow named Benny Hernandez, I think it was, he was the drummer. He was 16 years old. So we took him alone to Hawaii. And but when we got there after about 2 or 3 months, he wanted to come home. He got homesick, so he left. He went back home, and we finished the gig with a drummer, for a house drummer. But then Jody was he was the leader because he was in the army, so he would keep us very strict. He made us spit shine our shoes, and so he was the leader of the Standells. And then after we were there 6 months, we came back, and he disappeared, and me and Larry would continue with the Standells, and that's it. And that's the way it happened. And I have pictures. I have photos of my first band, the Starlighters, with Jody Rich without Larry. So I have all the proof from day one to now, that I am the originator from the day one of this band.
Yeah. And in the mid 60s with the Standells, I mean, there were other bands that were doing kind of similar garage rock things. Were you keyed into them? Was that something that you focused on? Was there, they talk about the competition between the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Like, did you sense that these are groups that we need to pay attention to? And was there a sense of, we've got to be better than those guys? Or was it just, man, we love that and let's do the same sorts of things?
It was just like we were everyone for ourselves. I mean, you hear of the Beach Boys, of course, or the other successful bands, and they go, we start a band, so we want to make records like they do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But really nothing to go after them. Was just the goal was to, play, music 6 nights a week and record music, and get on the radio. That was the main thing, to get on the radio. And so we did. After a while, struggling, playing in different dives and all over the place in California. And finally, one night we were playing in this club called the Peppermint West, which me and Larry, we went over there, and we met this manager, weird, with a green eyes guy, really strange. But anyway, give us a job. And we found, when we came back, we found a drummer and a bass player, which was Gary Leeds and Gary Lane. And we continued with the Standells with two new guys. And that's how we got the job at the Peppermint West. And then from there, our manager walks in one night and he goes, I want to sign you guys. Some crazy guy, And we talked about it, and I go, I guess we'll give him a chance, So we gave him a chance. His name was Bert Jacobs. And he signed us, and he started getting us some action. He signed us with Liberty Records, our first record company. And we recorded some songs, and from there we went to PJ's famous club that Trini Lopez was playing. He went to Vegas, and we went to PJ's. From there was a really famous club. All the movie stars used to come in. I remember Bobby Darin used to come in and sing on the drums.
Wow.
Bill Cosby used to come in and sing on the drums. We used to get all the Bonnie Play Club, the incredible, all the beautiful women from
The
Hollywood.
Playboy Bunnies, right?
Yeah, Playboy Bunnies.
That's Vegas.
And then from there, so we recorded live at PJ's, and then we recorded some stuff, but we did an album. And I remember when I came from Italy, I was in Cleveland watching my grandma put on the show on TV. It was Dick Clark, and I was amazed to see the first time I saw the Everly Brothers. I never forget that. I go, oh my God, I got to see. How can I go to this place? Oh, where is it? I was driving my relatives crazy. But then it's funny that after we recorded the Liberty Records, we ended up doing the American Bandstand, with Dick Clark. Yeah. And there I was, I couldn't believe it. We went to Philadelphia to do American Bandstand. That was a dream come true for me, from my side. For me, it was incredible.
Did you was that the first TV show that you remember doing? Because the Standells were on a lot of TV shows.
Yeah, we did a lot of TV shows, in town. Because then after, actually, this we're talking about 64, 64, we started doing, after we signed with the Bird, we started doing some films, because the company that he was involved with, the manager was Manager Liberace. So he got us a lot of TV stuff, but even before that, then we did the Monsters, to do the Monsters. That was incredible, because that was my favorite show, When I heard about it, I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it. We was going to be on the Monsters. But we started doing a lot of TV shows and a couple movies, and then like a Ride on Sunset Strip, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And my manager calls me like 10 o'clock, and I goes, Tony, guess what? We're going to be in Ride on Sunset Strip. You need to write a song quick, So we did all that.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. I did that in a couple of days, maybe overnight, mostly. And then we started filming at 20th Century Fox. That's where it was shot. Yeah.
Wow. So in the mid 60s, where were you where were the band and where were you taking your inspiration from? Were you looking to British bands, or was it American bands, or was it both?
British bands, actually not so many. This before the Beatles. This was before the Beatles, This we're talking about when the Twist,
Yeah.
the Twist was famous, Louie Louie, all the songs, We used to do all those songs that were popular, And then Chris Montez, which I heard the song called All You Had to Do. It was such a great riff, a guitar riff, that it was enchanting guitar riff. And I go, my God, I got to come up with something like that. I'll do something on a song, And that's what I kept that in mind I saved it for Dirty Water, I guess, when was the time, because when we got the song was like in this garage, that's what we call garage
rock.
I started, So, and that's what happened,
This is I do a mod show. A lot of the listeners are mod kids. In the 60s, at that time, 1965, 66, when you're doing Dirty Water, Ride on Sunset Strip and those things, was that a term or a thing that you were aware of, mod, as a thing, from the English mod scene, or did you have any real knowledge of that at the time?
After that, let me tell you what happened when we were on Liberty. We didn't do really nothing. The single didn't do nothing. So our manager got us a deal. Somehow he met Sonny Bono in this famous restaurant in Hollywood. And he comes back to us a couple of days later and he goes, "Hey, you guys, Sonny Bono wants to produce you guys." I said, "Okay, what do you think?" Because he just put out the song, "Baby, Please Don't Go." They had that song out. And he goes, "I can sign you guys with the VJ Records, So he goes, but he wants $5,000 to produce you guys. I guess let's do it, Give the guy $5,000. They were broke. They had no home in a way. They were just in town. I guess I heard they were living out of the car. It was crazy. We got him started, believe it or not. So he produced us and sang a couple songs, sang background on our songs, and we recorded at the famous Gold Star recording studio. And it was incredible. We recorded some songs, and then before we went to the studio, we got signed. When we walked into VJ Records, the president of the company that was signing us, he goes, "Hey, I like you guys. I would like to tell you guys that because I'm signing you guys today, I let 4 of these guys from England go out of the contract." And he wouldn't tell us who it was. On the way out, we found out it was the Beatles. So he let the Beatles out and signed the Standells. So it was incredible. So after that, still when we were at the Permanent West, Gary Leeds, which was a crazy guy, was a drummer. He goes, I show him this magazine from Italy that I got, my mom used to get. And there was this 4 guys with the long hair. And Gary goes, I showed him, he goes, "I got it. Let's all go buy wigs and we wear them tonight." And we did that. We went about 4 wigs. We put them on and we played at the Midwest, and then that was it. People were going crazy. This was before the Beatles got here. Before that, we got to PJ's. PJ's, we got a gig in Las Vegas at the lounge, which was incredible. That was incredible experience to play in Las Vegas. It was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Because everybody was in the lounge, in those days. Louis Prima, was everybody, all the comedians. There were even Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney, we used to go see him, support him. We used to play our show until 4 a.m, and he was on like a 5. And we used to go support him. He was playing in this little dive in Las Vegas. Rodney Dangerfield, and he goes, "I'm so glad you guys came to see me. Oh boy, I'm so glad. You don't know what you done for me, And the poor guy, and then he became a huge star. I mean, like amazing. But that's what happened from from going from one club to another and more and TV shows. That's the whole thing got moving.
So you guys had this great success, and then kind of flash forward all these years now, and you have decided to re-record your material, which a lot of artists do, so that they can control it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that you have the ownership of it, because a lot of people didn't get the best deals back in the day.
Exactly. We got taken for a ride for sure. It was insane. Like how they ripped us off from publishing. We had no idea about the publishing. I wish I knew. They took our publishing without.
Wow.
They even signed my name on one of my songs. I got the contract ready here. I go, what the hell is that? But now it's too late. The guy died. I was trying to take him to court, and it's crazy. So we got taken. That's what I decided. And after a while, I opened a restaurant because I was on the road for so many years. I want to open an Italian restaurant, which was very successful. And I had all the singing service, which was a riot. So all the musicians used to hang out there, and Rick Springfield used to come there with his dog, and he used to sit in the patio. We used to talk. He goes, "Yeah, I'm re-recording my album because they took me for a ride, the record company. So I'm going to record exactly all the songs the same." That's what he was doing at the time. And then after that, I kept it into my mind. I go. So someday it came, and I decided to re-record, most of the songs that I recorded, in the 60s.
Yeah.
And everybody's doing that. Even Taylor Swift, she did that. She got out of the company and she recorded all on her own, So
you have, it's the new album is Dirty Water Revisited.
Right.
And you didn't re-record the entire album, but quite a few of the songs,
some
right?
selection of the songs that I wanted to record. No, I didn't want to do that because I wanted to leave room. I put 2 new songs.
Right.
I had written, completely new songs now, what I'm doing now, and which was Vicky and Sexy Punk Rocker. And a lot of people really liked they've been playing and spinning from the beginning. A lot of
they're great. So do you consider yourself a punk rocker? That wasn't a term when you were with the Standells, probably, but you guys really were the punk rockers of your generation.
Exactly, because of my sound and the guitar. I couldn't afford when I first started, I couldn't afford a good amplifier. I had a Sears amplifier, which I kicked, and I got some weird sound coming out of it. And the guitar, so it's silver tone. And then, so I was like kind of poor raunchy musicians,
Right.
And then with time, luckily, I was be able to buy myself a Telecaster, which I used on Dirty Water. But I used to always mess around with my amplifiers and stuff. That's the way considering because the Sex Pistols and the Cure and the Ramones, all these bands that were really inspired by the Standells music and my guitar playing. I mean, I even up to this days, I run across so many musicians. They go, "If it wasn't for you, riff, if it wasn't for you, Tony, on the guitar riff, I would never play guitar." Even Lukather, he played with the Toto. Lukather, he's famous, guitar player. He plays the Ringo. I met him one night, and he was bound to me. He goes, "Tony, if it wasn't for you," I go, "Come on, Lukather, you play such a great guitar, man. You're great." Of course, I was in communication with this guy in Sacramento, Dennis Channing, which is almost like Clive Davis. He puts deals together. So, and he goes, "Yeah, Tony, I can get you a deal. I have a big Stir Records. They can sign you, your album. I know you want to do your album." So that's what I call a Dirty Water Revisited, so it could come back, and that's the way it all started.
No, it's fantastic. The sound is, I was listening to the originals and then listening to your revisited versions, just to kind of compare them and see. And the sound is more lush and richer, which is partly a product just of technology, I suppose, and the recording progress, but it sounds really great. The playing is great. I so love it. I was in the 80s kind of got into the whole garage rock revival in Southern California, and that's how I met the Standells from reissued albums, in 1983 or something. So you were an inspiration to me as well as to other guitarists. During those years, the 70s and the 80s, were you surprised when you heard bands, re-recording your, covering your songs and emulating your sound, essentially?
Unbelievable. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I mean, in the 70s was horrible because of the disco. When the disco came out, nobody wanted to know. They had no idea what Dirty Water was. But I continued the band in 1971 because the band broke up. Dick Dodd left in 1968, and then Larry got married and left in the 70s after we were trying to do this, and then nothing happened. He quit the band. He went away for 12 years. Wow. He disappeared. And then I continued with the Standells. I went to Canada in 1973 to 77. I stayed a long time. I continued with the Standells. And then in the 80s, actually, I called Dick Dodd and Larry, and we did a club, and then we did a concert in San Bernardino. But yeah, I would say, the since the Ramones and all these bands, they were idolizing and started playing or buying our record or imitating us. That was amazing. It was unbelievable. I could not believe it. I go, what I had no idea that I was like punk rockers kind of raunchy player,
But you were. I mean, a lot of people have referred to the Standells as the godfathers of punk rock. I mean, you sort of kicked off a rock and roll sort of vibe or sound that, it evolved into those things in the 70s and the 80s. But you were part of the originators of that. All those Nuggets series of albums that included some of your hits and things. So it's always been a pleasure for me to get to listen to those. And I always enjoy when bands cover you. The good bands cover the Standells, and they're like tributes. I mean, they play it note for note exactly like you guys do.
Except one guy about what's his name? Bruce Springsteen. This guy, Bruce Springsteen. You know who he is. He covered Dirty Water. I just heard it, man. He was doing Dirty Water. Somebody sent me this text, the other day. Oh, they were talking about you the other day, the Standell, about Bruce Springsteen covering Dirty Water, I was very honored. He was one of the biggest stars to cover Dirty Water. And also, somebody else covered, can't never remember the name, but, there's people, who was it? The Nomads from England, they covered.
Yeah. That's right. And lots of punk bands in that era, the Ramones, of course, but a lot of the English punk bands too. And a lot of kind of the garage revival in the 80s, the late 80s, a lot of them were covering Standell's songs. And that's, I would hear that and I'd get all fired up. And so I had to find a VHS videotape of Riot on Sunset Strip so I could watch that,
Unbelievable. That's so corny. The funny movie. That's so corny funny,
It is.
Yeah.
But it had some great music in it, you guys wrote some pretty powerful songs. So, and the new album, I can only tell people they need to listen to it. They just got to check it out. It's great because it is a revolution, evolution, it's a little evolved, but it is the real thing. And you've done a good job of of taking over your own music again.
Thank you.
You know, so revisiting and reclaiming. Maybe it should have been Dirty Water Reclaimed.
Maybe the next one. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah.
Are you going to do some
I
more?
don't know. Maybe I'm working. They want to sign me to do some originals. I have so much original music that I've written through the years, so I'm trying to kind of promote that. But I might do another one, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. You know.
Are you doing any live performances anywhere?
No, not right now. I was on the road in October, this past October. But other than that, no. I've been doing music production. Working with different artists, young artists, and and finishing some of my originals. So I'm doing all kinds of different projects.
Well, it's amazing that you have been able to sustain such a fabulous career for as long as you have, and that you have re-recorded and redone this. It's a real gift to young people who wouldn't have otherwise. A lot of them, may not have found your older stuff, but now here it is on Big Stir Records, and it's out there, and people can get it.
Yeah, get it now.
You will get a whole bunch of new fans.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of good, and they're doing a great job, Big Stir. They're promoting. Every time I turn Facebook on, I'm right in the front page. They've been promoting the album incredibly. Really incredible job.
No, they do a good job.
Good job. Yeah, definitely. Big Stir. Really, really nice.
Well, I appreciate your taking the time, Tony,
to
talk to us about Standells and the new album, Dirty Water Revisited, from Big Stir Records. As usual, I'll have all the links to everything on the Modcast homepage at mrsuave.com, so people can check that out, and probably go to Bandcamp is the easiest place to buy your album.
Right. Okay, then it's been an honor talking to you. I mean,
it's been, the honor really has been all mine. So I appreciate it. Tony Valentino of the Standells, thank you very much for having done this with us.
All right, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Ciao. That's what I was saying in Italy. Arrivederci.
Again, big thanks to Tony for taking the time to talk with me. I dug up some cool covers from bands obviously influenced by the Standells. Let's listen to those now.
Guys don't wear white. Every day I work hard. At night I spend a restless time. Those rich kids and all their lazy money, they can't hold a candle to mine. Tell your mama and your papa, sometimes good guys don't wear white. Bad guys, which is which? The white collar worker or the digger in the ditch? Man, who's to say who's a better man? I'm always doing the best I can. Best I can. You thought I had a dirty mind. All the messed up chicks of the changing times. White filth and easy living. Come close to the love that I've given to tell your mama and your papa. Sometimes good guys don't wear white. They don't wear white. They don't wear white. They don't wear white. They don't wear white.
boy born in the rough. And some say my manners ain't the best. And some my friends, yeah, they're getting me in trouble. And some say I know better than the rest. So tell your mama and your papa. Sometimes good guys don't wear white. Yeah. Every day, babe, I work hard. And it's true at night I spend the restless time with all those rich kids and that lazy money. Can't hold a candle to mine. So tell your mama and your papa. Sometimes good guys don't wear white. Good guys, bad guys, which is which? The white collar worker or the digger in the ditch? And who's to say who's a better man? Well, I always do the best I can. Yeah. A bad looking, dirty man. All those left up chick sugar, changing times. Wild girls and easy living can't replace the love I've given. So tell your mama and your papa. Sometimes good guys don't wear white. Yeah, I'm here to tell you better tell your mama and your papa something. I split and I found myself another chick, yeah. I ain't just a kid. You think those guys in white cows better out, baby, than just slack off? You don't think it's long hair? Get yourself a crew cut, baby. Yeah.
All right, welcome back to the Modcast. The last band there was the great garage rock revivalist Chesterfield Kings. It was their take on Sometimes Good Guys Don't Wear White, off of their rather hard to find Where the Action Is album from 1999. Hard to find indeed. I couldn't even find it for sale anywhere. It was nowhere out there. So big shout out to sometime Modcast co-host DJ Ken for digging that one out of his archives for me. Before that was the Inmates doing Dirty Water. That's from their debut album back in 1979. And right before that, another rarity. That was a demo version of Ride on Sunset Strip by the Fuzztones. Fuzztones covered a number of Standells songs in their live shows, but as far as I know, never put one on any album. At least until the updated UK version of Leave Your Mind at Home, which included a whole bunch of demos, alternate versions, unreleased tracks and stuff, was put out in 2015, and this version of Ride on Sunset Strip appeared on that one. Finally, because Sometimes Good Guys Don't Wear White seems to be the Standells' most covered song, truly, it seems there are more covers of that than even Dirty Water. One of the best, in my opinion, is a true punk rock take. So I had to do two of Sometimes Good Guys Don't Wear White. I did that first one there that you just heard from Chesterfield Kings, but way up there starting that little set out, that was none other than Minor Threat, way back in 1985, taking their turn with Good Guys Don't Wear White. As I mentioned, I got a really cool collection of Standells videos, all their TV appearances, movie appearances, and other stuff like that. Some really cool stuff up there, and that's this week's bonus third set up at MrSuave.com. Don't forget to spell out the Mr. Okay, friends, please do be friends. Let me know what you think of the show. Leave a comment at MrSuave.com or hit me up in social media. I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, but not TikTok. Sorry, never TikTok. Finally, right here, going to take you out with a once-in-a-lifetime cover. I don't think anyone else has covered this song, at least that I could find. Nothing that was recorded and released. But that all changed just a few weeks ago when one of the best modern mod bands today took a turn at the Standells. They not only covered this song, they turned it into a very cool, rather long psychedelic soul rocker. Here then is Men of North Country doing the Standells' Rari. I'm Mr. Suave. Thanks for listening.